Okay, good evening and welcome to Hustings Part 2/Part 4 really. So this is for the role of VP Finance, so we have 3 candidates. How it's going to work, there's going to be 5-minute presentations. I'll do it in the order alphabetically, so we'll begin with Aaron, then Lydia, then Chris. We have apologies from Chris, who has sent a presentation but won't be present. So when the presentations are happening, all the other candidates will step out of the room. You'll get a 1-minute warning and a 30-second warning, which might just be me clapping. I'll be sat just over here. And then after you all do your presentations, we'll come up with questions for you whilst you stand in front of us.
We started 10 minutes late.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine.
So Aaron's presentation wasn't sent in on time. Neither was Lydia's. There's a 3 p.m. Deadline, so anything sent after that is disregarded as per the election rules. So that's where we are at the moment.
Wasn't this supposed to start at 5 and this started at like 10 past 5?
If you have any questions, please wait till the end. Okay, so Aaron, you have 5 minutes beginning now.
Okay. Hi, I'm Aaron Chowdhury. I'd like to run for VP Finance and Student Activities. So who am I? I'm a third-year biomed. I'm graduating this year. I've been involved in numerous other societies around St. George's. So societies like Hiking Society and sports like badminton and community projects like Table Hospital and SJA, so SGSU links. And I found that without those, I don't think my student experience would have been as well-rounded as it possibly could have been. And the reason they're all in existence and carry on is because of the SU, and specifically the SU, the finance part of the SU. So that's kind of a bit about me. Also, I worked as a data auditor at the Imperial College Health Trust for a while. So I think I've got a bit of a familiarity with data entry. So it might help read finance. Anyway, okay. So what would I plan to do? So with regards to clubs and societies and community projects, so just keep up the communication that we have with them. Just make sure they're all aware of each other at the same time as well. I think Freshers was a really big success this year in regards to how people actually were able to sign up to different societies and know about and all the societies working together as a whole. I think it should be. I think external grants should be made known to the smaller societies. So I think the smaller societies are already aware of other businesses being able to sponsor them for equipment and stuff like that. But with so for example, say SGL links, they were able to acquire a £1,000 grant, which they used very well externally. So I think making people aware of opportunities like that is fine. Communication, as I said, it's really, I found myself, throughout the years, up until probably recently, I wasn't particularly aware of what the SU did. Not in the details that I know now anyway. So I figured communication at the start and maintaining it throughout is a really important job. Just to be as transparent and open about what we do at the SU and the roles that we play. So being aware, informing people of Freshers events in the Freshers Pack, in the Freshers Handbook, sorry, and try to keep them more open to a policy. So try and make sure everyone understands what we do. And I think with regards to the VP Finance role, maybe kind of disclosing the budget for each society, making it open to be able to look at it at any point, and even announcing at the AGM. So that might help make people understand what we do and understand it as well. With regards to budgeting, I was thinking maybe have a guide that to work with the committee to create a guide that we could use on spending for the year. So just to allocate funds for events, societies, and clubs. the minibuses are really like vital, really useful resource. So I figured we should let heads of societies know about how hold meetings with them at the beginning of the year, so they know how to book them, how to appropriately talk with other societies if you need to rearrange a booking or something, and training as well. So I think you have to sort out. Okay. You have to sort out like a competency test to train drivers. So that should be done at the start of the year, and potentially maybe even put like a driver's mailing list out, so that would get everyone organised and know it, and everyone be able to use other drivers for societies if they're not available. So the bar, I was thinking we could use maybe non-alcoholic drinks and events. Is that fine?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. So non-alcoholic drinks and events, maybe more of an inclusive environment in the in the SU, just to include as many other societies and people who may not normally go to the bar. And the storeroom, I was just a quick aside. I think it's being dealt at the moment, but I hope to, well, first of all, continue on the clean up and just organisation of it, and maybe ensure it's being checked regularly. Maybe keep an inventory of stuff that's being used in date. That's time for Aaron.
Thank you very much. Lydia also.
Yeah, I was similar to Aaron. I sent my email and I didn't attach the presentation, which is a common theme with me. So yeah, I'm just kind of running my.
You have 5 minutes starting now.
So I am Lydia. I have just graduated from biomed, and I would love to stay on as VP. I've loved my time at George's, and I don't want to leave. So most of why I've loved it here is because of everything I've done with the union. So being on exec, being in netball, and some of the projects I've worked with. So I love the variety of things we have here for such a small university. We have such a big variety of clubs and societies, and I really want the SU to carry on being as successful as it is now. So I was on the exec this year as environment ethics officer, so I know what it's like to be part of the team, and I have a really fun time. And I've got to know how the union works, and I've loved having the chance to be in meetings, make decisions about things, and just having a lot of responsibility really. So my main manifesto points, I'd like to put quite a big emphasis on being really approachable and open to members of societies. I want to have like an open door policy in the office, so I've always got my door open to people who can come in. I know that if it's your first time in a position of society, especially if it's quite a small one, it's quite nerve-wracking having to come to the office and ask for help. So I want to make that really easy for people. I also want to improve our environmental image. I know that's part of the role, and as being in the officer, I know where we stand now and what we need to do to improve. So I want to work closely with the officers and achieve the Green Impact Award with them, and just try and make our union have a really strong environmental image. And I also want to brief all the exec members on that policy. Also, I'd like to try and boost student participation throughout the year in societies and clubs. So maybe it could be in coordination with the Freshers Fair. I'd like to have a campaign week which tries to sort of show the benefits of being in a society or a club. And it could maybe go along with the fair, so you have things like taster sessions throughout the week where people can come along and try out the society and just show the benefits of joining. And also, you know how hard the sports officer role is, and that's obviously a huge part of being VP Finance, is helping them. I've been netball captain, so I've seen how stressful it can be for them and how much they actually have to do. So from the very beginning of the year, I want to set up a meeting with the old officers and the new ones, just to make sure they're really comfortable with what they're going to be doing, and maybe discuss Rob Lowe all together, because that's obviously such a challenge for them. And I sort of want to make a plan for the year, so just to make sure everything's going to run really smoothly. And this year I know they want to focus quite a lot on media coverage of the club, so I'd like to regularly meet with them to see how that's going. So why I think I'll be good at the job. I've held several roles in my final year, which is stressful enough as it is, but I think I've done quite well with balancing them all. And because I've already been an exec, I know how that all works. I've become really good at prioritising what's important and what can wait, and I've made quite good use of my time this year. And I know that sometimes, having been on societies and held positions, I know things like booking minibuses can be quite stressful because you're worried it might not happen. So I want to try and be really flexible and really dedicated to the role, so that if people want to email me in the evening, I'll check my emails then and get back to them.
1 minute.
Oh, that's actually the end. Yeah, if you have any other questions after this, feel free to email me or the contact page.
Thank you very much, Lydia. Okay, so Chris wasn't able to make today. He did send through a presentation. So although he won't be able to answer questions,
Does the Constitution allow it?
the Constitution doesn't specify anything about this. It just says that everyone's allowed a presentation. I did check. And we don't have audio anyway. He did send through a video.
Hello everybody. I'm sorry I can't be with you at Hustings at the moment, but unfortunately I'm abroad. I thought I'd record my speech anyway so that you could see what I would have said if I was there. Now, over the past few years, unfortunately there's been a big overspend within some clubs and societies, and with the big funding cuts there are throughout the university, we need to try and ensure that the clubs and societies are being as efficient as they can be with the resources that they have. This is to ensure the long-term safety of the clubs for the foreseeable future, so that we just don't spend money out of our means. We do have cash reserves, but to whittle these down would be silly because they're very hard to build back up. I'd also like to give clubs and societies more transparency with their accounts so that they have a better idea of the resources that they have. It might also allow people to, on the clubs and societies committees, to plan further into the future if they know what they have and will know which resources they have and what they might have coming into the future. Another thing I'd like to improve is streamlining reimbursement and orders. Over the past couple of years, several people have come up to me and said that it's taking them ages to get referees' feedback or a long time for orders to go through. Now, I'd like to make sure this process is streamlined so that people can get their money back from paying match officials and things like that, or buying equipment that is essential and that needs to be bought quickly. I want to make sure people get their money back from these events, because I know what it's like being a student. When you're without money, it can have a big effect on your life for a little while. So, yeah. Another key point I'd like to make is St George's' standing in the league tables isn't what it should be. For the amount of effort we all put in to our studies and academic achievement we attain at the end, the league table standing isn't representative of our university. A big contributor to this is the student satisfaction score, and I'd like to find out from you guys, the students, what these issues are, whether they're more academically focused or whether they're socially focused, student experience focused. And I'd like to find out these and work with either the university, if they're more academically focused, to resolve them, or the Students Union to provide better events or a different style of events to improve your student experience. Now, when I arrived at St George's, RAG was one of the biggest events of the year, and people wouldn't let you forget it. At one stage, George's had the highest money raised per head out of all of the other universities in the country, which is no mean feat. And I want to work with the rest of the exec to come up with new events as well as reviewing the old events, to try and restore the Rag fortnight to its former glory and raise as much money for charity as we can. I know this won't be easy, and it does sound ambitious, but I think planning far enough in advance, we'll be able to do it. Now, a few years ago, our sports ground in Cobham was sold by the university, and they promised us that they would commit to paying for our sports ground in the future. With the funding cuts that are currently going on around the university, I believe that they seem to be trying to wriggle their way out of this agreement potentially. So the final thing that I would ensure is that the university commit long term to paying our fees for sports grounds and other activities that they committed to those years ago when they sold the ground, decided to sell the ground. Thanks for listening to my speech, and please vote for me from 9 AM on Monday the 14th of July to Friday the 18th of July at 3 PM in the SU or online. Thanks.
Okay, so we have 13 questions for you. Yeah, so you will have 1 minute to answer, and then we'll go on to the next person. So we will start with Lydia. We will go Lydia, Aaron, Lydia, Aaron, Mason. Okay, so the first question is from Tash.
What first strategies are?
It sounds a bit sad. I love like admin things. I love organising. So of the three, I always thought it would be the one for me. Yeah, I love sort of going in and being given like the state that it is now, and then just trying to do your best to improve it. And also, I love that you get to meet all the different societies, all the presidents of societies, and just have fun.
Same question to Aaron.
So I haven't. I've always wanted to run the SU full stop anyway. With regards to why VP finance, I think because you get to, it's like a clear-cut role, and you get to interact with all societies, not just the large ones, like the small ones as well, and you make a difference in what they do. You can see the difference you make.
Okay, how are we doing? Tweeters? Good? Okay, next question will come from Adam.
So why didn't you run for this position the first time the nominations were open?
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
so over to Aaron when you're ready.
Okay. Exams. Yeah, I just had my head down all the time. I didn't really look at anything else. I mean, I feel like now I finally had a chance to breathe since everything's over. I've been able to look around. And luckily it came up. I mean, this is a pretty rare opportunity. So I'd say I was busier at the time. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Aaron. And same question to Lydia.
Similar, yeah, very busy. And I wasn't sure what I was really doing with my life, what I was going to do when I got my results. And then I had obviously finished and had a month working with something completely different to do. And because I wanted to apply for medicine, so it was completely different to that. And I just thought I want to have a few years or a year doing something that's not ready to do that, and that I can just sort of learn a lot more through as a person, because obviously it's really, really challenging and you learn so much. So yeah, I think it's nice to have a break doing something like that.
Okay, the Next question will come from Hong.
What have you done to find out more about the role?
Firstly I've looked through obviously everything in the pack and all the aspects of the role. Quite a few things I didn't know about already, so I sort of looked into those a bit more. I've read through a lot of the Constitution, knew some of that already from being in the spec. I was speaking to Tom about it, I tried to find out some of the bigger things of the role, like the financial aspects, but then it's nice to find out the day-to-day and things like that.
Same question to Alan.
So I looked at the website a lot. There's a lot of resources on the website about student finance, the role of students of finance. But I guess the main thing that I did to prepare for, as I saw the current financing office, just to see like the details, not just the details that I wouldn't be able to pick up from statements. So just like how day-to-day things are, goals, things to improve upon, essentially, and I suppose the normal things that are in the pack, Constitution.
The next question will be asked by myself. So we'll begin with Aaron. What do you feel the major challenges are for the Students' Union over the next 3 to 5 years?
So I'd say I think at the moment we're making a bit of a loss, so we're dipping into reserves a bit. So it'll be challenging to try. One of the main challenges is to try and make a profit, I guess. So we don't have, so the grants is staying the same that we get from university, but we have more public societies and just price in general going up anyway. So I think trying to find different ways of managing things to make that, and I suppose
Thank you, Aaron. And same question to Lydia.
Money obviously is a big challenge. We need to make lots of cuts and try and sort of balance out our own thinking. And people are paying a lot more, so they want a lot more from the union. I also think, it's not quite a challenge, but the change in proportion of international students and home students, because I think we're ready to change the union. So I think we might, things like the international role, I don't think is redundant, that's going to change everything, because we'll need that a bit more, so I think we'll have to adapt to that. And student participation definitely is a challenge. Since even in my first year, I think it feels very different now to how it did. With people getting involved with things. I think that's quite a hard thing to tackle, but every year I think we'll be able to improve it.
Thank you very much, Lydia. Okay, the next question will be asked by Adam again.
So, practically speaking, how you tend to increase student participation in events and activities?
I think that'll be answered by Lydia first. Yeah. Okay, whenever you're ready.
So I do think it's a really hard one. If people don't want to come to an event, they'll come. It's hard because I feel like it's fundamentally like Georgian spirit. People get involved with everything. So we, in a way, need to go back to traditions and really work on that. I think we just need to listen to what people want, do as many like surveys, data, capture things as we can to find out why people don't want to participate, and work on that. Bar, I think, sort of revamp of the bar to make it a cooler place for everyone to want to come. Not that it's not cool, but yeah, that will probably really help, I think, if we invested in that. Yeah, working with the events officers definitely. and with the old years as well, rather than just freshers.
Thank you very much, Lydia. And the same question to you, Aaron.
So, what was the actual question again?
So, practically speaking, how do you intend to increase student participation in clubs, societies, events?
So try and make everything as inclusive as possible. I think potentially, I may mention non-alcoholic drinks, so maybe non-alcoholic events and mixes, to try and get other societies involved in the SU and the bar. And what else is it? One more mixes, maybe. I suppose maybe with heads of society, so they can get to know each other. Yes, that's.
Thank you very much, Aaron. So the next question will be asked by myself. So, the SUCS, which is Students Union Commercial Services meeting, hasn't met as frequently this year. Why do you think this is? And what are your plans for it for the next year? I'll repeat that again. The SU Commercial Services meeting has met less frequently this year. Why do you think this is? And what are your plans for it for the future? So beginning with the
Okay, so I suppose just keeping up with accounts, just making sure they're all just to try and keep just progressing through processing it. That's what I got.
And the same question to you, Lydia.
I don't know exactly why I didn't have them, but I suppose maybe there's, I don't know, a slight drift between all the union aspects and the commercial ones, which perhaps makes it harder to arrange the meetings. But I think I would plan to definitely go and try and do them as regularly as the institution. I think perhaps now with Elizabeth it might be easier to keep it continuity between them. Help to sort of pass over across from the commercial business too. Yeah, definitely keep it up.
Next question will be asked by Sarah.
Sorry. So how do you plan on increasing awareness of the SU and what its availabilities are and what it does amongst the general student body? Increasing awareness.
I think perhaps there's a slight lack of knowing all of the exec positions. I remember when I started, I definitely didn't know all of them. So I think letting freshers know, and actually, like all years, no, because sometimes you can go in second year and still not know all the positions in the exec. So I think if everyone knows those really well, they'll know what's going on in there and they'll know how they can get involved if they want to. The Get Involved campaign was really good this year. I think we need more things like that perhaps throughout the year, and the subcommittees would be a really good idea again, to start perhaps earlier in the year, let people know when they come as freshers that they can join in. Freshers Fair is obviously brilliant for all the societies, so keep pushing that definitely.
10 seconds.
How fast?
Thank you very much, Lydia. And the same question to you, Aaron.
So, I guess again, I think communication with freshers, and I think the maintenance of it as well, because it's easy to go through the whole. It's quite manic with freshers anyway. You don't really pick up everything you're meant to understand because you're meeting new people and you're doing all sorts of events. So I think the welcome packs are useful, very useful tool. Freshers itself, so adapting ourselves, making ourselves known, and just being more transparent and open with people. So like maybe just having more open door policy, so if someone wants to come in, say in lunchtimes or so, making sure they know that it's available. We're available for meetings as well. Again, I was thinking about maybe publishing the budgets of societies, so that everyone knows where the money is going to, and containing everyone
Thank you very much, Aaron. Sorry to interrupt you. Okay, the next 6 questions we have are from Twitter. So they'll be asked by Jan and Tom. So whenever you're ready, guys, I know you're frantically typing. Thanks and thanks.
You can type them out.
First question. Okay. What is your opinion on the financial status of the Students Union?
So that'll be answered by you first, Aaron. So whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And over to you, Lydia, same question.
I think it's really good. I've been part of loads of things and never felt like there's not enough money being given to the societies I'm in. Having been an exec, we've been able to do loads of really fun things, and it hasn't, apart from in meetings when it's sort of stressed that we need to make cuts, it feels like we're doing well and we have loads of participation, so that's keeping up that money. I thought that was part of it. I think it's good. I think we need to make some changes. I think, I don't know, people in societies, there's sort of a bad image about it because people don't know enough. I think if we did, then something would. I think we need to do that to make people improve. People know where the money is going.
Thanks very much, Lydia. So the next question, again, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, just 1 second.
Twitter peeps.
None of these tweets are grammatically correct. I don't know.
Okay, next question is, how, in your opinion, will the role of VP Finance and student activities evolve next year with the appointment of a new accountant?
Okay, so that'll be answered by you first, Lydia. So whenever you're ready.
So I was speaking to Tom about this. I think it's great that we've got one, but that there was a lot for her to do when she started. I remember when she started on that she was very next to. So there's a bit of a backlog. So at first it might not change that much, but I think it's good because it will take some of the stress off, because obviously we're not financially trained. It will be so useful to have someone to ask those things to, and it will take the stress off of maybe like getting things wrong because we don't know exactly what to do. It won't change the workload massively, but will definitely be a benefit.
Thank you very much, Lydia. And same question to you, Aaron.
I mean, it's a skilled job, so I don't know how much. I mean, I don't think we're going to be expected to be able to be fully fledged accountants at the end of the year. So I think it's really important, really useful. I think it's been implemented. How do I think it will change? I think we can focus more on like the strategy of the budget, as opposed to as much of the nuts and bolts of accounting. So you have more time to liaise with clubs and societies, more time determining where the budget is.
Thank you, Aaron.
Next question. What will your main focus be for next year?
So that'll be answered by you first, Aaron, whenever you're ready.
Personally, I think communication really. I think it's really important that everyone knows what we do and who we are and how we do it. Also, I mean, so funding as well. You know, I think that's a really important aspect of the job. Just trying to find out different ways of getting maybe certain grants or just finding funding in places that people wouldn't normally, alumni maybe. So, yeah, I guess that would be the main communication and trying to manage the SU and the commercial aspect of it to make a profit, I suppose. That's what we do.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Same question to you, Lydia, whenever you're ready.
I think my main focus, sort of carrying on throughout the whole year, will be just to try and be really friendly and approachable, because sometimes I feel like it's a bit of a separated role compared to the other two. I want to be really present, sort of in the student union, involved in everything, and I want to try and make it more clear what we do as a role, and just make people feel like they can come and ask, and that there's sort of some people get quite like some societies are quite unsure of where money goes, and I want people to feel like that they are being given lots of money and that it is fair. I want people to do that because it is very fair. So yeah, just let them know and be happy about the financial status of our union, because it's not a disaster.
Thank you very much, Lydia. Next question, whenever you're ready. 2 minutes.
Yep. Next question is, have you, and if so, what potential funding from external grants have you looked into for societies and clubs?
Okay, so Lydia first, whenever you're ready.
I haven't looked into that too much myself. I know from the spectrum that they've had in the past charity donations from children's need, things like that, and obviously they get changed every year, so it's definitely worth looking into that today. But I haven't looked into that much, especially not for the sports.
Thank you very much. And same again to you, Anne.
I'd agree with the whole the charities, using different charities, maybe alternating or using different ones as well. And I guess it's quite difficult to find external funding, especially with, I think, a lot of sports societies already have some kind of external funding, businesses to support them, or their own links to other organisations. With the smaller local societies, I do know that SGSU Hustings applied for a grant externally and got it, so they did use it really well last year. So it's possible. I think just finding it, just looking in the right places and finding something that's relevant to the society can help a lot.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
Next question. How do you intend to support your zone?
So, Aaron, you're up first, whenever you're ready.
My zone.
Your zone.
What's my zone? My zone.
So zone is as in your zone within the Students Union, within your role as VP Finance for next year.
Like the room?
So this one I'll have to just explain it. So the zone is essentially the area of the Students Union which you'll be looking at.
So anything onto my
Domain.
Right. Okay.
With regards to the Student Union offices.
Oh, I see. Okay. And the question was, how would you look after them? Regular meetings, I suppose. Again, with the open door policy, I think that's a really important. I think that has to be kind of. I don't know. I feel like I've been missing a bit, but it's really. It applies in a lot of different areas. I mean, I think open door within and within inside internally the SU and externally as well. That's quite. Know who you are, know what you're doing. And if they've got any questions, they should be able to have that information that we read. Or if I can't directly help them, signpost them to some way.
Thank you very much, Aaron. And same question to you, Lydia.
So in my proposal, I'd like to have a meeting with the sports officers, with the ex-sports officers as well, so we can sort of set out a year plan, and I'd like to have like maybe monthly Tuesday meetings with them to see how the meeting is going, because I do think that would be really good, and that's their manifesto. With the CPs, obviously the FD funding, Tom did a really great job with them this year. I want to help them keep that up. And also I think maybe it might be good, sometimes I think with the larger roles it's easier to get your word out to everyone, so I would help them with that to get my word across to all the societies. And then societies, obviously lots of meetings, so we're really, really involved with them. Just support them as much as I can.
Thank you very much, Lydia. So the last question, coming from Twitter.
What methods will you use to increase transparency in the student union?
So Lydia, you go first.
So I think the biggest deal with transparency is the money. People don't know where it's going. There's quite a lot of people think all the really big clubs just get given money because they're old clubs, which isn't really the case. Tom's obviously working on a policy to fairly distribute all the money, and I think it would be really good to have that all laid out so that people can see it whenever they want, and then they'll realise that actually they're receiving a fair amount and that some clubs need to have extra money for certain things that they don't. I sort of want to make it so that people know they can look at that as well, not just they might stumble across. So let all the treasurers know that people in the club are wondering why they haven't got this money that they can go onto the website and
Thank you very much, Lydia. The same question for you, Karen.
So yeah, I agree with that, and I'd say with regard to it's transparency. So just making sure that everyone knows who you are, knows what you do, and publishing budgets potentially, publishing budgets that for club societies, so everyone knows. Anyone who can, anyone who's interested can approach me and find out where the budget's going. Potentially talking about it at disclosing it to everyone, at the AGM. Transparency of what we do.
Thank you very much, Karen. So that was the last question. Thank you guys for participating. It was all 13 questions. So thank you very much. Could you all give them a round of applause? So a reminder that voting begins 9 AM Monday.